Just when you thought the jail fiasco couldn't get any crazier, it just got a whole lot crazier yesterday. Terry Jo Neff, our Cochise County reporter, here to talk all about it. The latest development involving Sheriff Mark Dannels filing a lawsuit against a local watchdog, I guess you call him, courts and crime sort of watchdog, David Morgan. Fill us in, Terry Jo, what is going on here?
Sure. So David Morgan made a public records request back in April. And what he asked for is a report from 4 years ago. It's by the National Institute of Jail Operations. That report from 2021 was used by the Sheriff's Office and a lot of county officials as part of the support for needing a new jail here in Cochise County. And 4 years later, David wanted to see what the report looked like. The Sheriff's Office, the County Attorney's Office has said, no, you don't get to have it, and filed a lawsuit asking a judge to back them up on that decision.
Okay, so now what is it? They don't want the public to see what is in these documents. What is it they don't want seen?
Sure, so the assessment that was done by National Institute of Jail Operations addressed a lot of internal problems, security issues, which we know. There's problems with detention officer safety, inmate safety, things like that are discussed in this report. But typically in Arizona, as you know, Matt, public records are considered public and they're open for inspection. But the Sheriff's Office is saying that it's too risky to release anything in this report. There's a public safety issue, there's an officer safety issue. They're also saying that because this report was created in part to make sure that the Sheriff's Office could protect itself if inmates got hurt and turned around and sued the county, that there's an attorney-client privilege there. None of the report, and we don't know at this point, Matt, how many pages it is, but one would assume it's a very detailed report. The Sheriff's Office is saying there's nothing in there that we can make available.
So what is the point of this report? Why did they make this report if it was so dangerous?
So my understanding from the lawsuit is that the county attorney's office, the county's risk management, the insurance part of the county, and the sheriff's office really wanted to understand what some of the problems were in the jail, kind of have an outside expert come in and help with that assessment. Obviously, there would be parts of that report that the public shouldn't see because we don't want inmates or other people to know where some of the security vulnerabilities are. But the fact that the sheriff, the fact that the county attorney's office would say that not one page of that entire document can be released calls into some credibility there.
Well, I know you got a lot more reporting to do on this. This is a story that just seems to keep going and keep giving and giving and giving. But what is the next? What should people look for in your upcoming reporting on
Sure.
this?
So we know that David Morgan is trying to find an attorney. So there were two options for the county in this, Matt. One was to just deny David Morgan's request and put the ball in his court as far as suing for being denied a public record. What the sheriff opted to do, and this is kind of a nice thing in one way, is he paid the big fee to initiate the lawsuit, to ask the judge whether or not the sheriff made the right decision. So in one way, that's good. In another way, though, it's going to raise questions right now. We have an election coming up in just a few months on whether to reinstate the jail district sales tax. This is going to create some bad publicity for, what does the sheriff not want us to know, given the fact that they could potentially release some of the report. I mean, they're not even releasing the cover of the report.
Yeah, I mean, other than the publicity and just a sort of, I guess it does help that it, but again, you have, one of the most powerful people in the county, and this is using county funds, right, too.
Correct.
This is not Mark Dannels acting independently. This is,
Right.
So what practical application does this have for the upcoming election?
Well, so that we're going to have to wait and see how quickly David Morgan can get an attorney retained for this. He gets a chance to file an answer in this. The first judge that was automatically assigned to this is recusing herself. Judge Terry Bannon. This was an auto assignment that was done by the clerk's office. She is appointed to the bench. She's not elected. She's appointed by Cochise County's Board of Supervisors. So she's recusing herself. Whether or not any of the other 5 county judges are going to want to weigh in on this. So we may end up having to wait a couple of weeks for an out-of-county judge to be assigned to this, go through the hearing, and make the determination as to whether any of the report can be released. In the meantime, critics of the jail district, critics of the sheriff are going to use this for fodder. People who are in favor of the jail, who understand the safety implications and some of the problems at the jail, are going to point to the fact that the jail is still in such an unsafe condition that we can't talk about.
And so that's what this report is really about. It was really highlighting the need for a new jail, and it was laying all the scars and all the blemishes bare.
Absolutely. Right? And it was a way to have somebody other than the sheriff and his employees saying, hey, we really need a new jail. It was professionals who came in and did the evaluation.
Okay, because I can imagine, well, I mean, you can go to the what-if scenarios, but if we get to that ultimate what-if scenario that they don't approve a new jail, voters don't approve a new jail, now we have this documentation that would, I would assume, carry liability.
Right, so that's another big factor here, Matt, is that let's just say in the meantime, somebody does get hurt, a staffer, an inmate, an attorney who's coming in to visit. So if somebody does get hurt, and the county has been put on notice for the last 4 years about some of these issues, that report will come out, and it's going to come out in court as part of a liability lawsuit.
In terms of a lawsuit, it would certainly come out. I mean, you know, David Morgan's one thing, but when you have an actual liability lawsuit, that would be another bag of worms, I guess. Well, this is a fascinating story. Keep following Terry Jo. I know she's got a lot more on this, and we're going to do a lot more of these video things to try to do. The Explainer, obviously. You're watching The Explainer on Herald Review TV. And thank you for tuning in, and tune in again soon. I'm Matt. She's Terry Jo. Have a wonderful day.